So, Mr. Wolf, let me share this with you, and we'll talk about it real quick before we get this thing started. Now, I know I shared this with you in the DM, and maybe you haven't caught full wind of it, but as you know, I tend to be a guy who likes, I like VR stuff, right? And not everybody's into VR. I get that. VR is a niche and all of that. All that is fair game to
Especially
say, right?
PSVR too, yeah.
Stop it. As a PSVR owner yourself, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got some big news, and as you see here, big news. The robot, Mr. Zuckerberg came from his the Zuck came from his robotic cave to announce, and I'm being facetious, but he announced some really, really awesome things, and I think we should have a quick discussion about it. So real quick, it says big news. Meta has just announced that they are opening up the Meta Horizon OS, the operating system that powers Quest, to allow others to design more headsets using their ecosystem. Lenovo, Microsoft, and Asus are among the initial partners.
Wow.
This move could spark a new wave of headsets focused on productivity, entertainment, gaming, exercising, and more. Now, why I think this is exciting beyond just the VR-ness of it all, right? I will also really quick pause for a moment and hit the play button on this thing and let people hear what the Zuck had to say. Okay, let's for real quick. It's not a long one. It's about 2 minutes, not even, and then we'll talk about it. Can you hear this?
All right, some updates on the metaverse today.
Okay,
we are releasing Meta Horizon OS, our operating system that powers Quest virtual and mixed reality headsets, and we're partnering with some of the best hardware companies out there to design.
Now, I'll pause because he will say some key things that I will want to point out. Continue.
New headsets that are optimized for all the different ways that people use this tech. Now, in every era of computing, there are...
He looks like a robot, doesn't he? Look at my eyes.
He's a cyborg. He's a cyborg.
Models. And with phones, Apple's closed model basically won out. Phones are tightly controlled, and you're kind of locked into what they'll let you do. But it doesn't have to be that way. In the PC era, the open model won out. You can do a lot more things, install mods.
Come on, robot. You're taking too much time. Come here. We'll go right here.
Operating systems.
So what they're doing is open sourcing their operating system, which means the thing that ran Quest, obviously the Android back thing that ran Quest, right, now is open source and everyone else can use it. What makes this super interesting?
More companies can build different things on it. We've been building Meta Horizon OS for about a decade. We started building it off Android, and while it's still compatible, we've now built it into a much broader and more capable mixed reality and spatial computing OS. The key ideas behind Meta Horizon OS are a feeling of presence with people, no matter where you physically are, space.
So these are some of the things it can do
with virtual creators and building all these new apps and experiences. You can do all this on Quest
like
today,
the rubber ducks.
Now we're also working with Lenovo, Asus ROG, Xbox, and
whoa.
You see that part?
Yep.
Continue.
More to build headsets that are going to be designed for specific use cases. So you can imagine a lightweight headset that pairs with your computer on your desk to provide the best work experience, whether you're at home or anywhere else you go. Or you can imagine one that's fully focused on watching immersive entertainment like movies and videos with the highest resolution OLED screens. Or think of one that's fully optimized for gaming with support for all kinds of different peripherals and haptics. You can imagine one that's designed for exercise, that's extra light, sweat-wicking materials. Or maybe just a version that comes out of the box with Xbox controllers and a Game Pass so that you can immediately just start playing on a big screen anywhere you go.
So,
wow.
The reason why this is super exciting to me is I have been one that have been using my Meta Quest for lots of different purposes, right? For my daughter, I've set her up and she uses it for piano lessons. And it's one of the best piano teachers ever. I've said this before. I think it is unusually good in how it teaches kids how to play piano. It's literally Guitar Hero, but for piano, and you're using a real piano to do it. Right.
Yeah,
So
that's
you're
really
learning
cool.
and you're having fun. Right.
That's cool.
I said I advised shout out to the man Double Barrel Gaming. I advised Boom to start using VR for workouts. He's on his 6th week of boxing training in VR, and he is like loving it. He's talking to his doctors about it. They are flabbergasted at how good it is working for him.
That's awesome.
Okay?
Yeah.
The first thing I said when I tested out the Vision Pro was, man, this will sell a lot of Quest 3s, because the minute the Vision Pro comes out, Quest will start running, not walking, to the future. Right? What they're doing here is separating all the use cases, because the problem with using it as only a workout machine is you got to put a lot of silicone stuff on it to make sure it doesn't get all sweaty on you. Like, you need one that's built for sweat proof, for being able to just run around, right? And some of the tech in it isn't necessary if you're just using it in the game, in the workout context, right?
Which in turn, I'm assuming that then that'll drive down cost, which is the barrier of entry in every product.
It'll drive down weight. It'll drive down cost, right? In the instance where you're using it to watch a movie, maybe they prioritize OLED screens and less of all the other superfluous things you don't need for gaming, right?
Yep.
This is exactly what they needed to do to move VR to the next level, and not like, oh, VR is a gaming thing, but VR is, because if you've seen VR being marketed, it's marketed to 5, 6, 7 different use cases, right?
That's true.
And you don't need, not everybody wants all of that in one, right?
Right.
Imagine a world where you have your device that literally follows you when you're on a trip. You put it on your face. It's got extra battery. You can watch an IMAX screen, and that's all you use it for. Straight up awesome movie watching experience, right?
Yeah, because the problem because the problem with VR is always, what I've seen is that the reason that I think it's considered a niche product is because it's those interested in the tech. But the problem is that if they can get to a level like release a workout one for like a few $100s, then the tech can really boom and it can really take off.
Talk to Boomstick. Like, he swears by it. We talked about it some months back. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. Like, he is all in, to the point where he goes to his checkups and his doctors are like, bro, look at your posture. What's going on? Like, he was talking to me about it today. It is a thing. And as soon as we talked about it, now Zuck is going, hey, guess what we're doing? We're allowing it to be these different things for these different use cases. This will potentially change the landscape of these devices forever.
Absolutely.
Super exciting news. And you saw that Xbox notation in there, right?
Yeah.
This may be how they finally go double back to, oh, and by the way, now you can use this thing in VR for Xbox, right?
Yeah.
They already have Game Pass in it.
The future, right? I mean, the thing is that Phil can finally fulfill that unbroken promise, I guess you can say, because as we know, since Xbox is progressing into being a platform, not just being a console, then that means that if they release a headset, a Quest just dedicated to Xbox, they can have, Xbox dedicated content on there, which if you think about it, some of the games that are on the PSVR 2, they're on the Quest. All they need to do is really give them Xbox achievements and you're done.
Bro, they are now also allowing different stores. Doesn't it sound familiar? Different stores to be in their ecosystem. Oh, and by the way, they want Steam to be a partner for the headset. Wow. They are running to the place that Microsoft is running to. Right? They're all heading in the world of walled garden. What's a walled garden? Right? And I think it's super, super interesting. So I know it's a niche product. I know that not everybody's down with it, but when it's able to work and give you a different use case for your personal use, you will find far more agency and far more usefulness in this, right? Well, so you can find a product that, like every time they sell it to people, they go, it's a productivity device and it's a game device, and there's the productivity version, which will have the specs for that purpose and it'll cost you thousands of dollars. Then there's the gaming one, that may cost you $400 because it's geared for gaming. Then there's the workout one, which might be $200 because it's geared for, you know what I'm saying? Those single-use devices will get us much further. Very exciting times.
And let me tell you, I'm excited on two fronts. I'm excited from the front that they can kind of separate the segments, and like you said, it's going to have a different barrier of entry. And think about like what they did with the smartwatches, right? You had your big players that came into the market with expensive smartwatches, and then that's when the Samsungs of the world came in, and then they started giving alternatives and stuff like that. And then it opened up that market to where now almost everyone has a smartwatch, right? So if they can do the same thing across the board with VR headsets to find a need for everyone to want to own one without breaking the bank, it becomes now just a kind of like a novelty item where you're like, hey, this thing's $150. This thing's $100. Why not? You see, and when you say why not, that's how you get people.
Yeah, because they don't have to put all the crazy tech in for all the various use cases. If you're a gamer, you want them high frames, so you have specific tech for that. If you want it for something else, for movie watching, whatever, you don't need gamer tech. So they can leave that out and make it a much more cost-effective, much more visually pleasing device. So
I will say one more thing.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
It is. It is. And I'm gonna say one more thing. It brings me joy to see Zuckerberg and Meta be all on board here, because at least they're trying to own the segment of the discussion, and they're not backing down, and they're actually kind of trying to innovate in their own way, because they know that they want to be the lower, kind of like the lower spectrum, and they're not trying to be what the Vision Pro is, which is this,
I mean, that's exactly what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
They are running, not walking, to get to the promised land before Apple has a chance to revise the hardware and make it $1,500. Right? By the time they do that, everyone will be hopefully on the Meta Quest instead. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting, something to start off with. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I say welcome to the Gamers Playground, the show where we do our best to demystify the monolith known as PCMR. And on this show, we try to say MR means mutual platform respect, or get yourself a PC so your missionary gamers, depending on how you feel.
Exactly.
Host, Mr. KSRD, right down there, and all the. Of course, I'm joined by Mr. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Kay. Now, do me a favor in the chat. If you're hearing Kay kind of his voice coming in and out, let me know, or if that's just me. But now you're good.
Okay. Do I need to step? Oh, it says is Kay botting. Oh wow. That's okay.
No, you're good now. Okay. You're good now. So it's good. Basically, it was an introduction, guys, to episode 34. Okay, we're gonna have a great conversation. Kay, I've been doing really well, as you know. Last week was not too wise for the wallet. All the little adventures I went on for the week. Proud new owner of a brand new Samsung S24 Ultra. I think that me and you.
Ooh, you're part of the future now, boy. Your phone can wake you up and make you toast and the whole thing.
I mean, supposedly this thing has AI in it, which I haven't even tried out. I don't even know what that's about, so I'm excited about that. But I just don't like to do gaming stuff on my phone. I like my phone to be more productivity, and that's why I have device. Yeah, that's why I have like the various handhelds and stuff. But in any case, also I could not allow. I see him in the chat. Infinite Umbra to show me up. So I went to Best Buy and I dropped the coin on a 4080 Super. So I'm now the proud owner of a 4080 Super.
All right.
Yeah.
He's in the air, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Which let me tell you, when we get into our main topic, I'll talk about my journey and my story to get that installed, because I learned a thing or two, and that's why today's discussion is so important for whoever's on the fence, whoever wants to join us on the PC roads. Some of these mistakes that people like me make, I want to talk about it so that you don't make the same mistake. And also, I want to talk about a little bit about my upgrade path that I'm gonna be looking to do. But Kay, how about you, man? I know that you guys had a big show this past Saturday. It was great. I listened to the whole thing while I was out and about. Saturday was hot, man. Did you go out on Saturday at all?
Yeah, I washed the car, hung out with the fam. Yeah, warm day out here in the old South.
Yeah, absolutely. And BT Maverick, I like his chat there. It says Infinite FOMO has got an Everborn in John. That's right.
Yes, it does. Yes, it has. Indeed, it has.
And you want to know something? BT Maverick, I saw your name come up on Friday. I think you won one of those coins, those Hellblade 2 coins on Risk It Show. So if you don't want it, you can send them my way. That's all I'm saying. But
that's awesome. Actually, I have to say, real quick, this channel is also giving away some Hellblade 2 coins. That's an interesting state of affair. Myself and Everborn, and actually John, I hadn't spoken with you. I was thinking about how we would go about doling that out, whether it be like picking names from our members list or people in the chat. I wanted it to be something that if you are a member, you'd get some benefit out of. So maybe I'll pick it out that way. But yeah, we will be giving away Hellblade 2 coins ourselves. And the last day will be towards the end of this month. So there's 5 coins up for grabs. So, stay tuned for that. We're definitely good. We want to be part of that as well. We were lucky enough that Ben Kenobi reached out, and we've been communicating with them and him and Holly. So yeah, man, right. It's interesting times.
And we do have and we did speak last week, and we do have an idea for a custom coin for the GCP channel, which we might, and Gamers Playground, which we might do something unique, but we'll keep that on the DL.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But all right, so let's get this started in earnest. And this time, I think I'll start by asking you. And I know you've been benchmarking and this and that, but what games have you been playing, man?
The only thing I've been playing is, like you said, the benchmarking game. I want to make sure what this 4080 Super can do. But I did dedicate some time to a little bit more Yakuza 0. Okay. Trying to get through that game, and then I did play Call of Duty probably longer than I should have on Saturday night. But that's other than those 2 games, nothing else really much. How about you?
So me, like I love y'all. I have the show in my blood. I love it because if it wasn't this right now, I'd be playing No Rest for the Wicked, which is what is literally eating my life right now.
Looks so
love
good.
That game. It's so beautiful. Yes.
Now
you heard me yell about it. It's great.
Now,
it's great.
Now I will say this: I heard you talking to Everborn. I've seen various podcasts this weekend. I just want to thank you, Beta Boys, for working out the bugs for us that are waiting for the final release. Thank you so much, Kay. We really appreciate it. The Beta Boys are in action, and we appreciate you finding those bugs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm here for that. So that way, when you tell me about this amazing game you're playing 2 years from now, I'm like,
and you're done.
I'm on to the next one.
That's right.
I paved the path that you guys walk on. I'm okay with that. It's all right. It's all right. I'm okay with that one. That's fine.
I just don't like, and it's not, and I'm just messing around, but I just don't like the fact that we are beta testing this game for them, basically. And I don't know. And that's a whole other discussion.
I know. I see what you're saying, but just so you know, like when you tend to, and that's a part of that early access stuff has been a part of Steam for a long time. But usually when you do that, like if the game eventually turns to $60 or whatever, you end up paying $30 or $40 for it.
That's true. That's true.
The price always increases at retail, so you tend to benefit from getting early access, and you can kind of influence the game as well. Like right now, I'll tell you, the parry system is dog water. It is trash. Like that's just what it is. So if more people complain about that, then you'll see that final product will not have trashy parry mechanics. Thank you.
Speaking of Beta Boys, thank you. And speaking of Beta Boys, we got MJ Dark. He's late to the party, but I was just roasting Kay, just giving him a hard time, letting him know that you guys are the Beta Boys of No Rest for the Wicked. But
yes, sure.
But but in all seriousness, it looks great. It does look fantastic.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think it looks really. It's really cool. It's fun. I tend to not be a Souls type of gamer, but I've realized, and I think I've said this already. I had an epiphany playing this game. I realized that maybe I did not like these kind of games because for me, they tend to be ugly with bad story, right? Like gameplay is king, and we know that. And because it's king, they don't tend to do much more beyond the gameplay aspects of it, right? Yeah. So the story tends to be obtuse, and the visuals are serviceable by and large, but I don't think they're amazing. Besides maybe Bloodborne, I haven't seen a game that I really thought, wow, this is beautiful.
Well, I think that they go for a distinct art style, which is that Berserk kind of, to live in that Berserk world.
Sure, but I always kind of feel like the graphic fidelity could have been last gen and it'd be fine.
Yeah,
right.
I get
even Elden Ring. I'm like, the game has this huge open world monster, like you discover so much, but still the assets and the graphics look kind of okay. Yeah, I've always thought that. This here, the story is amazing. The graphics are just insane, so much so that it's pushing me forward. Yeah, it's pushing me forward. So, we'll see how much further I play with it. But for now, it's great. It's great. And if I have to drop it, I will. I will, because it's in the beta stage.
That's true. Go ahead and read the super chat, and then I'll tell you what I was going to tell you.
Sure. Mr. MJ Dark with the $2 super chat. Welcome, sir. He says, John Wolf, you beta testing the wrong ally. Yes, sir.
Man. Hey, my SD card still works, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yo, yeah. One of the few. Congratulations.
I'm lucky. I don't have a red ring of death.
Yes, ally. That's right.
But what I was going to tell you is that the thing about Souls games is that everybody finds their one that they like eventually, and then one of the things that coming over to the PC space, we got Wiimod, man. So if the game wants to screw us over a little bit, we can say, you know what? How about we fight back fairly? When that boss is just one-shotting you, all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Maybe I
can one-shot the boss. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, Wiimod.
So I will take a page out of your book. And you recommended we do something that I do find quite interesting. So possibly we may institute that on the show moving forward. And what do I mean by that? It is the idea that every week we want to highlight some of the stuff that's going on in the world of gaming. Now, this will be the way we also blend in our recommended segment, right? Where we recommend things for you to either play and or look at. We usually recommend some cool tech tools and whatnot. In this instance, I'm recommending Opera, the old Opera browser. If you haven't used it, Opera GX is pretty awesome. I really enjoy using it, and I recommend you use it. And in this instance, it will be the way we use to show you games coming out very soon. And this is literally built into the Opera browser, and this is all the platforms, as you can see. You can go in here and go, oh, I just want the PlayStation version, and it'll show you what's available on PlayStation. I just want to see what's on the Switch. It'll show you that. I just want to see what's on Xbox. It'll show you that as well. But we'll keep it to all, and I will tell you, this Phantom Fury looks kind of cool.
Dude, it looks awesome. Cool. I put that on my list.
I kind of want to check it out. I want to check it out. Yeah. And I don't know if you hear the audio. I hope you don't hear the audio, but if you do, I will turn it down.
If it wasn't for Zao coming out this week, I probably would have picked it up. But I got it on my wish list, and we know what the big game coming out this week is, which it's our bae. Okay, she's coming out. Stellar Yams is finally out.
Yeah.
Make time for Stellar Yams. Okay,
them yams, indeed, them yams. I will say, if you look at this game, it's kind of cool. It's got that Doom engine aesthetic. Right, it's kind of pixel art, but it's also really cool and interesting in its graphical fidelity and stuff. So I think that's a cool game to check out. Aiden Chronicles 100 Heroes. I know a lot of folks have been clamoring for that game. That is coming out on the 23rd as well, tomorrow, literally. Let's see. Sucker for Die Date to Die For. Yeah, that's where I know this one.
Mouthful. Pause.
Yeah, that's a mouth.
Of course, we got Zao.
And then, of course, Zao. So there's some interesting games on the docket this week. So if you have a chance to, and you're looking for some games, indie fair or otherwise, now is an interesting time to check it out.
Hit the arrow to the right. I wanna show you the game that's gonna win Game of the Year. It's
which one is this one?
Go one more to the right. Okay. There it is.
Oh, you mean
Stellar
Blade?
There it is. All right.
You always leading with that machismo there, man.
I'm just saying, man. Stellar Blade. It's gonna be Game of the Year, and it comes out on the 26th. Clear your calendars, people. Clear your calendars for Friday.
Clear your calendars. Yeah, sure. Clear your calendars. I understand. Okay.
And I understand it's not that long of a game, to be honest with you.
No. I thought it wasn't that long of a game at all. Yeah. Actually, that's what I heard. It's not that long. But okay. So, you know what? Let's start this show in earnest, and let's talk about what you wanted to talk about. Sure. We all know that this show is a journey that we go on, and the journey of you discovering your like jumping into PC and jumping into the PC realm. Right now, a lot of folks probably saw GCP over the weekend. We heard Everborn talk about his experience with getting into the PC realm and what he did. At some point, we may have him on. He most likely couldn't be on today. I reached out to him, see if he could. He said work might be a little difficult, so we might have to reach out to him later and have a quick chat. But
that man is.
I do want to
get that out of
here. He's probably playing with his 4090 right now. Oh, stop playing with your 4090. Calm down. I do want to talk with you a bit about I want to move that conversation forward a bit, because both in the DMs and some folks I trust, and even you, which we talked and we kind of serendipitously vibed on this idea that while it was a good episode and we did talk about a lot of those issues, a lot of the way forward for people getting into games, getting into PC gaming specifically, it seems like we may have given the wrong impression, but I actually spoke on it on the show. But I wanted to expound on the idea that you don't have to jump into the deep end of the pool, right? You don't have to spend $4,000 buying a monster RGB rig for your bedroom in order to get this stuff.
No, not at all. There's so many. I think that the premise for people that are not PC gamers, because this is something that I experienced myself, was that I was always intimidated by two things. I was intimidated by not having knowledge, and I was intimidated by the price. And I think that those, when you factor those two things in and you can break down those barriers, I think that you understand, once you're in it, you can look back like I do, and I can understand why some people have these connotations and these conversations surrounding it. And I really want us to dissect today what that means for someone that listens to this show and is like, man, I really want to do this, but they keep on telling me not to buy a pre-built. They keep on telling me that it's $4,000. They keep on telling me it's this or that. We're gonna break this down to the granular level as best as we can, so that anybody can watch this and feel like it doesn't matter where you're at on the radar. You can get in. You can get in.
And you know what? To that point, right? I will set this up in the show, in the chat as well. If you have an opportunity to jump in our chat and have a conversation, I will set it up so that if you want to chat with us, or if you have a question that you wish to pose, you could just put it in the chat right now. And any PC related question, anything like that, we will answer it for you. We're here to make all of this a little easier for people, so people can understand. So it's not always that unusual, debilitatingly high idea of, oh my God, it takes so much to get into it, right? I was actually chatting with Boom after, and I use Boom as my barometer. Great dude, always loves his games, and I was talking to him about all of this stuff, right? And basically, we got to a point where he was like, hey man, had I known it was like this, I would have jumped in a long time ago, right? It doesn't need to be the big monster $1,700 rig that you need to buy with a crazy processor, a crazy GPU in order to get your feet wet, right? The key here is, it's like a TV, right? You start with a normal size television. If you are so inclined and you feel like getting the big monster beast or whatever, you can do so. but you don't need to do so in order to benefit or get that entertainment that you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
The movie is just as watchable on your 27-inch screen as it is on the 50-inch screen, as it is on the 70-inch screen.
Right.
And you decide how you want to enter it, and your budget will determine that, and and your use case will determine that. I don't want us to set a standard where it's got to be this, this
not at all.
monster. You know what I'm saying? So
It can't be
that
like
will
that
help us.
because-
Let's break this down and really, really start the conversation as to, and I put it up on the socials when we were first started talking about this. Your budget determines a lot, right? Your use case determines a lot, right? Your level of skill determines a lot, and all of that is absolutely possible, right? So let's get the conversation started. I see Six Slayers in the chat. Shout out to you, good sir. I see Mr. Joanna Dark, of course. Infinite Umbra, what's going on, Mr. Infinite Umbra? He has a question.
I just wanted to answer his question about he called it the rot ally, which I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because you're giving MJ Dark ideas. But yes, Asus did officially come out. They did put an extended warranty on anybody that has SD issues. That's basically them acknowledging the error. That's good on them. I just kind of wish that they would have done it sooner, but at least they're doing something about it, which is good.
Yep, absolutely. So you know what? Let's start breaking this down. I've seen some questions in the chat, and let's see here. Let's see. Obviously, we see the Sly Crow in here, and he's asking, what is the max RAM speed for that a Ryzen 5 5600X can support? Now, that is an interesting question, because it's not only the CPU that needs to hit that benchmark for the support. It also depends on the motherboard that you have, right? How many slots it has, and potentially it can decide or skew your potential for max capabilities, right? So I guess the question that my question to you would be, what kind of motherboard are you running on that thing? But you don't even have to ask me that question, right? Because maybe this question is logistically something for your use case, but let's answer the question broadly for other people, right? If you need to know how much your CPU / motherboard combination can support, easy. Put them in PC Part Picker and it'll tell you, right? So it's not necessarily ask your favorite tech guy. I appreciate the question, but if you want to know, you can literally just go into PC Part Picker under CPUs, put Ryzen 5 5600X, right? Put the whatever motherboard you have, even if it's a motherboard that's no longer sold. They tend to have motherboards that they'll tell you it's not for sale, but at least they'll allow you to choose it, so then it shapes the parameters of what your capabilities are, and then see what the max RAM is.
There you go.
And you can do that with anything. You can do that with, hey, I have this case. Will this new GPU fit in that case? You put the case in there. You have to know what case you have. You put it into PC Part Picker. Then you add the potential GPU you want to add, and boom, it'll tell you, it's too small for it. It's too big for it. Stuff like that, right? Yep. That's why I always advocate that people go to PC Part Picker. It takes the questions out of it, because it'll answer all those questions for you.
There you go. Yep.
Right?
And
thank you so much for the question.
Absolutely. And Kate, before we get on with more questions, actually, I think that we should kind of address the main pain points and kind of like our guide that we have, and then maybe we can answer the questions after, because
absolutely.
I think that the most important thing, Kate, and this is from learning of just upgrading, like I did my graphics card, and we'll get into my project that I plan to do in the next several months. But the thing is that the number one question, and maybe you will agree with me or disagree, for anyone looking to just jump in the PC waters, what I call it, what is your desire? And what I mean by that is, what is interesting you about jumping in the PC waters? Is it performance? Is it because there's games missing out on console? Is it because you're just tired of the console? So when you understand that premise, I think that you can start the next step. Do you agree with that or not?
I don't disagree. No, and to your point, a little further on that point, if you're watching this show or you watch gaming shows or something like that, you are not a casual. You're not, right? Exactly. I would think anyone who can hear the sound of my voice is more than a casual gamer. Because if you are a casual gamer, chances are a console works for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me be clear.
Absolutely
nothing wrong with that. I've heard that, the PC gaming has an instance where there's gatekeepers and this and that. That's not here. That's ridiculous, right? If you're gaming, if you're watching this or you're listening to this and you go, you know what, I'm content with my console, but I'm just listening and I might be curious, there's nothing wrong with that. Or you're like, look, I think the information is interesting, but I'm sticking with my console. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nope. But by and large, we find that people want to dip their toe in, but there are a few factors that are stopping them, whether it be technological skill or the lack thereof in their mind, or the financial incentive, the financial burden that it would be, or maybe they think of PC and they go, "Oh, I don't want a big monster beast in my living room. Like, that's ridiculous."
Yep,
all
that's true.
Those
the space. Yep,
that's right. All those narratives we're here to dispel today, right? So let's start with your desire, that what you were describing, right? And we can kind of hone that into technical expectations, your performance or expectations in general, right? What I've realized is people think that if you own a PC, right, now all of a sudden you get all the real stuff that the console people weren't able to get, which is not true, right? If you want 4K, you need a 4090. Mm-hmm. Not true, because guess what? For the most part, 4090s don't get 4K. They get 4K. they get good 4K because they have DLSS and all these other upscalers that allow it to allow it to either get close or sometimes even visually look better than 4K because you have the algorithms in the background working really hard. But that is for a $2,000 processor or $2,000 GPU, right?
Absolutely.
You don't need the big monsters to get something on your screen. And by and large, if you're watching this and you haven't dipped your toe in the PC waters, what I want to dispel that we discussed a little bit on the show on Saturday, but I want to talk a bit more about on this show, is that you don't need to have a pre-built or build a PC yourself in order to benefit from these PC waters.
Absolutely.
Right? Nothing wrong with pre-built machines. There are many pre-builts out there. Like everything else, you must be careful when you make your moves, right? That's why I always advocate for PC Part Picker. Even if you don't know what any of the parts mean, put each and every one of them into a part picker and let it tell you what logistically it looks like. Because sometimes you'll look it up and it'll say it doesn't exist in there. That means you're getting a proprietary part that may not be something you want. Right? You should be able to buy every piece individually if you so choose. And if you can't, then that's a red flag. Right? Stuff like that. That's the general knowledge of getting into it. But a lot of people who are dipping their toes into the water may not even want to build a PC and have a case and have this and have to put all this stuff together. I think that is unnecessary. I know you did. And you were adjacent for a while.
No. What I said was I didn't. I bought a pre-built.
Yeah, you bought a handheld. You bought a handheld first.
I got the Steam Deck was my introduction, and then a pre-built was actually my first PC tower that I had. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Now I can sit here and I can look back and I can tell you, hey, from experience, I think people are saying that because for the money that you're spending, you can spend your money more wiser, and that is where I think that conversation needs to lead by, and not make it seem as if the person is being put down because they're buying something pre-built. It has nothing to do with judging others for not having the technical know-how. It has nothing to do, with pricing that they can't afford or anything, because when people in this space say that you shouldn't buy pre-built, it's not based on any of those things other than just you can get better performant parts for the money that you're going to pay most of the time.
And not only that, if you get a pre-built, there's more of a chance that they slip in parts and components that may not be advantageous to you. They're trying to save themselves a buck. It's like when you have a car accident and they say you can either go with your own repair shop or the repair shop recommended by the insurance company. You don't want to go with the repair shop recommended by the insurance company because they're trying to save some money, right?
Exactly.
You want to make sure you get what you want versus what they give you. And pre-builts tend to kind of slip in certain components that you may not want if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yep.
Right.
And
so you have to kind of keep an eye out. Yeah.
Absolutely. And here's a pro tip. Best Buy, if you sign up for their Total Tech program, which I think is $200 a year, number one, it covers anything that you buy from Best Buy for the whole year. Number two, if you buy the components little by little, you don't even need to build it yourself, and you can have an expert there build it for you.
You can have them build it for you. Absolutely.
If you don't have the knowledge. So there's so many different avenues that you can take here that it's up to the individual.
But I say, if you are PC curious, right, and you always gamed on your console, right, and then we say, oh, the ROG Ally is great, or the Legion Go is great, or whatever handheld that you've heard of is great, and you go, I'm not a handheld gamer like that, right? I want to test the PC waters, but I don't necessarily want to drop big coin on that, and I don't want to necessarily have to buy a handheld because that's the only way to get into PC. For you, and for most people, I recommend a mini PC. I really do. I think they are woefully underrated, and people should know more about them. So let me share one of them now. Now, I will first and foremost say shout out to the great ETA Prime, great YouTuber. You should check out his stuff. I'm going to share some of his stuff right now. I follow this man and watch a lot of his videos because he's always reviewing cool, interesting tech. So if you're interested in that as well, there's his YouTube channel right there, ETA Prime. I suggest you seek him out and you follow that man because he's got skills. Now, the latest one I'm sharing with you is, and this is a dime a dozen. There's always a new one, but this is the latest one. I was like, hey, let me look it up. Let me try and find one. This is an well, don't even worry about the extended eGPU thing that he's doing. He loves to do that stuff.
That's when you graduate already.
That's right. What you're looking at right there is a mini PC, a small PC, a almost Apple TV like puck in your hand, right? That comes with all of the specs that you'd be looking for in a proper PC, right? Now, people always talk highly about your ROG Ally or about your Legion Go because they have all these interesting chips in it. Those chips are usually rated for battery performance that scale up and down because, you have a battery in it. For these mini PCs, they don't leave your house. They plug into a wall. And because of that, they can rate them for higher performance than even the handhelds because they don't need to plug in. So you'll notice that most of the time, these mini PCs don't use the 7840U or something like that, right? Instead, they'll use the 7840HS or the 8840HS, right? That HS variant is the ones that denotes the ones that you plug into the wall rather than the ones that you go to this use battery for, right? So this, for example, is using the 8845HS. USB ports, mini USB ports, all the some of them have like SD cards, all the stuff you would find in the ROG Ally or the Legion Go or something like that. Price tag on something like this, $700-800 max, right? So you're not investing top coin in this. And now let me pause it right here. So as you can see, it has all the bells and whistles that you would expect. You can get it up to 64 gigs of RAM. Can you get that on a console? Chances are you cannot, right? This thing can go up to 64 gigs of RAM. You can get up to 4 terabytes of storage. You can put, if you don't want to test the waters, you get it as is and you move on. If you do want to test the waters, you can upgrade that processor or that hard drive yourself later, right? And if you notice, some of these specs are similar, right? The Ryzen, the Radeon 7080M iGPU, that is exactly the same one that is in your Legion Go. That is the same one that is in your ROG Ally. Heck, that's the same one in my AOK Zoe A1 Pro. The difference is these are rated for battery life, so they only go so far, right? And because this plugs into the wall, it has higher TDP, what TDP meaning higher what do you call it? Basically more wattage to push the processor, right? And because it pushes that processor, you have more juice and more resources for your both CPU and your GPU. So this thing can perform really, really, really well underneath your TV. It's got an HDMI port, right? You can plug in it's obviously got Bluetooth, so you can use your Xbox controller, your PlayStation controller, right? And as we've discussed on the show over the weekend, you can set up big picture mode on Steam as your normal interface. So you boot this thing up, you're in big picture mode. It's under your TV. You're playing, No Rest for the Wicked or any other game that's not currently on console like that. You're not configuring a damn thing. It's just right there. Right. So this is just one example of these things. What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, I think that's great because like you said, it gives it when I told the story of my cousin last week that he was looking to get into PC gaming, he eventually landed on the Legion Go. That's what he wanted. As long, and again, for people wanting to tip the toes, as long as they can invest into the space without spending the top dollar because they're not sure, I think that is very powerful because that, like we said in the beginning of the show, if you can get people to try a VR for a low barrier, then they can appreciate everything that comes with it. And then guess what? You start graduating. You start saying, "Hey, now I am gonna start saving up for the rig. Or maybe I want to buy a more performant little box, or et cetera, et cetera." I think too, Kay. One of the things that we need to kind of address is because everybody falls in a different parameter here. I think that if you're the type of gamer, right, that you are cognizant already about the performance that you're getting on your console and you're worried about it and you're looking at, wondering always, hey, what is this game going to run at? And you've already graduated to the point where now it's not just about turning on the console and enjoying your content, but now it's more, hey, this is running, look at the performance in it. I think that you're reaching the threshold where you're kind of graduating. And I think that your gaming desire, as we're calling it, is asking for more, which is where
your gaming needs aren't being filled by consoles anymore. You're no longer the console target audience if the speeds and feeds start mattering to you.
Exactly.
Right? Yes.
And then the thing is that again, look,
by the way, look at the size of that thing.
That's incredible.
Teeny tiny little box, and it packs a punch. Look at that thing, so tiny. And all it's got is an HDMI on it.
Dude, you can even mount that in the back of your TV. It's perfect. So what I was telling you was, and again, I don't want to make it sound kind of disparaging or anything towards people that prefer their console. There's nothing wrong with that. I still play my PS5. I'm gonna get a PS5 Pro when it comes out. I will always buy consoles, always, even though that now I consider myself primarily a PC gamer. I'll still buy consoles. But the thing is that one of the things that I'm not worried about anymore is that if said company, the games aren't performing as I would want, I have an alternative, and I've taken the matters into my own hands, which I think that many people in the community that are constantly kind of frustrated, they need to kind of understand that it's a you problem and you have to take accountability and just take matters into your own hands. And this is the way you do it. Entering one of these ways. So, Kay, once you've identified your desires, right?
So before we move forward, just real quick, everyone sees the size of this controller. We all know what an Xbox controller is, right? Look at the size of that controller compared to the box, right? And then look at the specs. This thing has got 32 gigs of RAM in it.
Damn.
Right? Even more than the Series X. This little thing has up to 2 terabytes of storage you can put on there.
Right. Now that doesn't
insane what it can do.
Yeah. Now let's not. It doesn't mean that it's going to be playing all your games at 4K, etc. All that stuff.
Well, but the Series X doesn't play your games at 4K. It plays it at 4K. And this can also play it at 4K.
Okay,
it can use upscalers just like any other system, right?
There you go.
It can use upscalers. Don't assume that you plug this in and you're getting native 4K, because even the Xboxes don't. Your PlayStation doesn't give you native 4K. Your Xbox doesn't give you native 4K. And the games that it does give you native 4K on the Xbox, it will probably give you native 4K on this as well.
Right.
And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about indie games. You know, no console is playing Cyberpunk at 4K native. And neither is this.
My 4080 Super's struggling to play that native at 4K. So I mean, it's over 60 barely, but still, it's the games and the engines are hitting everything with all their might. It just requires too much power to run stuff native. So, okay, so to summarize, when you've identified your desire, why is it that you're interested in the space? The next one is you got to look at your budget. You got to look at how much you're willing to spend in order to get what your desire is. If you're someone that says, hey, you know what? I want every game that I have to run native 4K as best as I can. I want no sacrifices. I don't want to worry about upgrading.
Yes. Then we have something for you.
Yes.
We have sites called NZXT. Right? We have sites called Best Buy where you can have it custom spec'd or something like that. But if you don't want that, you have the money. You are Everborn Frivolous Purchase Saga. You want to go out there, buy yourself a big beast. It's all available to you. You can get the Starfield branded one. That looks pretty cool. You can get all of that, right? All of that. You can go pre-built in this way. You can go Origins. That's right. I see you there, Flood. What's going on, brother? Right? You can go Origins. There are many options for you. So you come here and you don't feel like, oh my God, what am I going to do? The one has a 4060 in it. The two has a 4070 in it. The three has a 4090 in it. Let's guess which one is more performant. It's that simple. If you got the cash for it, you can drop it. So let's just go to the one, for example, right? You go in here, you choose your thing. It starts at $800.
That looks just like mine, actually. The one on the right.
There you go. Oh, which one? Hold on, man. Let me.
That one right there.
Yeah, this one.
Yep.
Okay. So you it starts at $800, right? You pick the black one, you pick the white one, you start speccing it out. Well, I want one that has this. I want, you choose the specs you want. i5 processor versus an i7 processor. You may not understand what any of these things mean, but understand. And the reason why I say NZXT specifically is because they speak to a gamer, right? And they try to speak with gamer parlance. So even if you don't understand what these specs mean, you will see them reflected in their synthetic benchmarks, right? Oh, this will get you Starfield at 40 FPS at 1080p, or 30 FPS at 1440, or it may not play it at 4K. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But if you up the processor, right, now all of a sudden it may do a bit more, right? Now it's doing a bit more, and this is all done without DLSS, right? This is all done without upscalers. This is telling you what it can do, right? And of course, shout out to the man Lucius. He's here to remind you not to buy Intel. Why?
I have an Intel, and I can tell you that
he's trying to foster competition in the space. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to foster competition. There's nothing wrong with that. No, absolutely, right? So if you're in the market for the big dog, you can get the big dog, right? Either local or you can get it here. They'll put it together. Like something like this will cost you $1,500. You might most likely pay a little bit for shipping, and you'll be out the door. And when it comes, it will be hands down one of the greatest machines you ever used. Why? Because these guys pride themselves on having a name of being able to set that up for your gamers and all that. And you may not necessarily need to know any technical prowesses to get this thing done, right? So if you have the money and you want the best of the best, you can always come to places like this and choose that, right? But you may not have the money, right? You may be balling on a budget, as they say, right? Or you may have the money and go, look, man, I don't even know if this is what I want. If this is where I want a game, I want a secondary, right? I hear all these people playing these games that have not come on console, right? And I don't want to wait for 2, 3, 4 years before I before I get access to it. In that instance, then you understand that everything means concessions, right? The bigger your budget, the less concessions you deal with. But even the biggest budgets among you are still dealing with upscaling techniques in some shape or fashion.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So the idea that I want to get everything balls to the wall, yeah, you're not getting that. That's not going to happen. There will be a game that will bring your processor to its knees. I'm talking about you, Dragon's Dogma 2. Nothing you can do about that, right? That's just the world we live in, right? But you can, if you have the budget for it, you can, get the biggest rig. If that is not what you want to do, if it's about getting access to this PC world and just kind of testing the waters, that's where I would advocate for a mini PC. And look at the prices on a mini PC, right? This is one of the nicest ones I have found recently. Minusforum, good brand, by the way. This is the 7840U variant, and they have 8840Us, which are the newer variant. 64 gigs of RAM on this little beast, terabyte storage, right? It can do and when they say 8K at 60 frames, that is what it outputs, not the render resolution. Don't take that and go, oh, they lied to me. That is the output resolution, meaning if you plug this thing into an 8K TV, you'll still be able to get 60 frames visual on the screen. When you're using it, it will be 60 frames. But you throw a monster game at it and that 60 frames will drop. That's just the way it is.
Do me
so
a
when
favor,
you see that, don't assume. Yes, sir.
I sent you a link in the private chat. I found this YouTuber that he actually specifies in building budget PCs. And let me tell you, there's also the route that you're giving with the mini PCs is fantastic. And if you're someone that you are, you want to get your hands dirty and you want to build, this YouTube channel that I found, this gentleman is excellent at building budget PCs, and he does it for about $500, and he compares the performance between a PS5 and an Xbox Series console. So
see, the problem I have with this is you will always find an outlier. Like on paper, he will build you a machine that will be more powerful than a PS5. That's true, right? Problem though is because a PlayStation is profiled and spec specifically for that use case, and it is customized and it is optimized to make it run best on a PS5, chances are what you see on this will not look as good as what you see on a PS5 most of the time.
Understood.
Because a lot of developers spend a lot of time like making that thing sing versus just throwing it on this and hoping for the best. It's not the same.
Understood,
right?
but
so just understand that,
yeah. But for the most part, if you build something and you can get a budget 3060 Ti in your custom build that you can build for $700-$600, you're gonna be outperforming the consoles anyways. In a lot of the areas, it
depends.
So
it depends. Look. The reason why I'm hedging here is the reason why we can outperform the consoles is because we have overhead. If you build something like this, you don't have overhead. You're kind of right there, and because they are consoles, they can kind of they can squeeze more blood out of that stone than you can here. Because there's less overhead, you know what I'm saying? So you can, don't get me wrong, it does allow for more performance. It just does. But like, for example, if you were to right now play The Last of Us 2 on PS5, the remake, right? If you play The Last of Us 2 on PS5, it will look better than The Last of Us 2 on this. Just by virtue of the fact that it has literally been profiled for the PS5. And that's just the way it is, because on my machine, it would play better because I have so much overhead that I can literally make it work.
Yeah.
If you get a machine that's around that $500, $600 budget to match the PlayStation, yeah, that's when their optimizations will outlast this PC.
Yeah. But
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That said, if it's still a way to get in at a low price.
Absolutely.
Because again, it all comes down for the pricing. Some people, it's a huge turnoff. They're like, look, I don't want to spend 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 on
Yes.
something
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
they can't justify it to themselves, know. And then,
well, but see, the thing that I also, and the reason why I will push people to mini PCs is because this also requires you DIYing, which a lot of people can't or don't want to do. Right? There's a benefit for consoles. You buy it, you take it out the box, you plug in your HDMI, you plug in your power cable, you turn it on. This comes in components, and you have to build it, and you have to have some know-how. You know what I mean?
But the thing is that the reason why I'm telling you that this is not like a bad avenue either is because for the people, the same way that there's people that just want plug and play, there's people that want to get hands-on and build it themselves, but they don't want to buy top of the line. So and I do think that what will happen, because as we all know, once you start buying components, upgrading, it becomes addictive. It's part of the fun.
Well, but that's you. That's you, because you have always been that dude. I could tell. You just tapped into the waters, and now you're swimming deep. I know.
But the thing is that it's part of it, right? Like you have your people that are like, look, like you did this generation. You said, listen, for the 40 series, I'm going, balls to the wall. I don't want to worry about upgrading nothing for a long time. But there's others that are like, you know what? Let me take the upgrade path. There's others that are like, you know what? I want to see how this is doing, so that to see if it's just good enough, and maybe down the line, I want more. And either answer is not wrong. That's
that's fine. No, absolutely, you're right. And the reason why I'm pushing people to mini PCs is because I speak to a lot of boomsticks, right, who don't want to do any of this. They just want to hit the button and hit play. And their reason for getting into console PC gaming is because they miss out on so many games. Right? They miss out on games. Their avenue, their reason for wanting to come here is so they don't miss out on all those games. Right. But if you tell them that the requirement is down, they have to build and they have to profile and they have to benchmark,
they'll never do
that
it.
Will be a turnoff, right? So for them, you buy the little mini PC puck, you put it under your TV, you plug it in like a console, and off to the races you are. I agree. Right? I agree. If you are one who wants to dip your toes into actually the building waters, hell yeah, you should jump into this. Right? There's so much cost-effective stuff to be had here. Right? You don't have to build the biggest monster PC. I've been building PCs all my life, so it's all good. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer. And that's the beauty of this. Whatever avenue you decide to take, there's going to be pros and there's going to be cons. There's pros and cons to every avenue, but for you, for the specific user, everyone is unique in this space. Everyone is unique because my needs for a game are not the same as yours.
Maybe different than yours. That's right.
So
that's right.
for me, my current build, what I'm thinking about doing is I want to get as close to my maximum frame rate at 4K that my
you are close to Everborn Frivolous Purchase Saga. You're trying to go balls to the wall right now.
But the thing is that when I say that, does that mean that instead of ultra, I have to play the game on high? I'll do that because my want is different than the person that says, no, I need ray tracing on. And everybody's different.
But what you described there is actually very apt, right? Because that is the reason why there is no wrong answer in it, right? Even if you get the puck, right, you still get to decide what you want to prioritize.
Absolutely.
Right? If you have a puck-like device and you say, hey, I want to be in the range of VRR, which is like 40, 45 frames per second, you can dial things back to get yourself to that 45 frames per second and let VRR take the rest of the way. You can do that. Whether you have a puck device or you have a big monster PC, all of you are still able to play in those waters. So whether you are a John Wolf type who's dipping his toes into the builder waters and do it more DIY and get more customization, or you're just a guy that goes, look, man, I don't care about any of this. I just want to be able to play all the games. I want to make sure that they're able to come to my device wherever they happen to live. That's why you'd want to jump those waters. It's not just about the builder. It's also about the person who just doesn't want to miss anything anymore. Right. Absolutely. And there's room for you as well. Right. So, I think that is really cool. And you know what? We should put this man's YouTube channel in the chat So those who want to give it a try, see how it feels. If you're not a person who may understand how PCs are generally built, or you just want to kind of see how others are building it, or get some ideas, there's nothing wrong with it. You can come in here, check it out. He's got a lot of builds for very reasonably priced, $500, $300, $400, $320, stuff like that. Now again, you calibrate your thinking, right? In a world where a $5,000 PC can barely play Cyberpunk with path tracing unless you DLSS it, right? A $300, $400 PC, you're talking about indie games mainly, or maybe some emulation, right? And that's all well and good, and you can do that as well.
And I will say, especially from conversations that we've had in the past months with console performance versus PC performance, I understandably so, everyone in the space needs to have accountability for understanding what it is that you're buying if you're looking for those speeds and feeds. If you want to be in the trenches of the conversation, understand what you're buying so that when you speak on said performance, said device, you can feel like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. And you can say, I was wrong on the performance of this.
So one thing that Everborn said to me a little bit ago that I think is actually a very apt comparison in this space is, you don't go buy a Honda Civic and then go and pull up next to like an Aston Martin and start talking crap, right? You don't do that because you know you got a Civic, right? That's what and I mean that facetiously, but that's what we tend to hear in these streets. Why is it that my $500 box can't do what this $5,000 box can?
Yep.
You got to know what you're doing. That's why I say hashtag get a PC. Understand the device you have in front of you. Grok that device, because when you do, then you know what to expect and not what to expect from it, right? But I think that fundamental understanding will help you decide that, hey, man, I need to make sure that I get the best frame rates. I want to be a part of that conversation. I don't want to just stick for convenience. I want to make sure that I'm getting the best of the best. Yeah, then you got to get out there and you got to spend that coin on the bigger machine, right?
Right.
But if you're okay with if your priority is not the best of the best, but you're like, damn it, everybody's playing No Rest for the Wicked, and I wish I could play it as well. I may not be a big console guy, a big PC guy. I may not know my DDR from my PSU, right? But I still want to play in this PC waters. Then I have a thing for you, and it's called the mini PC, and it's $750, right? Absolutely. And this $750 thing will have 32 gigs of RAM, a terabyte of storage, and trust me, through upscaling, you'll be able to play almost anything you want. This thing can hit 60 frames on Cyberpunk, as long as you don't turn ray tracing on.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, these are the concessions that we make, right? But at the end of the day, look at this device. It is not asking you to put anything into it or take anything out of it. Just hit play and you're there, right? These are the things that we want to do. And this is for those who don't want to mess with, what's the variation of RAM versus storage versus CPU versus cooling temperatures. All this is literally geared towards plug and play, while still adhering to all the PC goodness that you hear your friends talk about, right? So that's the deal. Oh, Mr. MJ Dark, of course, $2 super chat. He says ROG Ally equals Fisher Price, not a Legion Go.
We're not talking about the Switch here, sir. You're in the wrong chat.
Man.
What's it called? Yes, what's it called? That's a good segue into number 3 with what you're saying, which is do your research. Yes. You've already identified your desire. You know what your budget is. Now it's time to do your research. And with that said, if the mini PC route is the route that is right for you because you wanted something in your living room that doesn't take up too much space, you didn't want to spend too much.
That's right.
You want it under your desk. You want it in the back of your TV. Whatever your reason is, do your research prior to buying. And the thing is that, look, this happens at work all the time, and like, you already know me. I don't sugarcoat stuff, okay? So I need to say it. If you don't know something, that excuse cannot be used in the year 2024. we have the internet. You can research anything you want. So if you want to learn about PCs, you can do the research. If you want to learn about emulation, you can do the research, et cetera, et cetera. So whoever is limiting themselves nowadays to knowledge, it's because you are doing that to yourself. And that's just my TED talk for the day. But it's the truth though. But with that said, don't use that as an excuse to be scared. Don't use that as an excuse.
Well,
you know what?
I'll even help you out here. I'll help you out here. Okay. Let's say you've always wanted to learn about PCs. Let's say you want to get in there, you want to play around, but you don't know, you don't want to be like, oh, I have to go watch a bunch of YouTube channels talk about PCs. It's boring. I don't know what the heck it's all about. I don't want to mess with that.
I'm gonna be listening to
there
this
are games. There are games for you. There are games that you can play that will teach you how to build a PC. Ladies and gentlemen, PC building simulator, right? It will teach you how to build a PC, and it's actually pretty fun.
I wouldn't be in the predicament I am now, where I'm gonna have to shell out $500. Okay, so
you know what I'm saying? Yes. And I think this is even on console. Like, I'm pretty sure this is also on console. Like,
isn't that an oxymoron right there? Can you imagine? Hey, I got a 4090 build. You should check it out. Yep. And then I'm like,
check it out on my Xbox.
On my Xbox. Let me send you a screenshot. Okay, look at this monster build that I.
Yeah. But seriously, without no joke, this thing will teach you how to build a PC. It'll teach you what the liquid cooled loops are. It'll teach you how RGBs work. It'll teach you all of this interesting stuff in a gamified kind of way, right? It's super interesting, right? It's pretty good.
Linus Tech Tips the game right here.
Oh yeah, well, but Linus Tech Tips might lead you astray. It is what it is. Grumpy Shaman with a $5 super chat. He joins us. Thank you so much. He says, I built my first PC a couple of years ago, and I love the process. And now I want to do another one. Bro, nice. I'm with you. I built my first PC when I was 15, I think 14, 15. This is back in the day when like 32 megs, not gigs, megs of RAM cost like $500. You know what I'm saying? Well, way back in the day when I needed my uncle to help me build, because he was a tech guy and I was learning from him. You know, but yeah, since I got since that time, I've been building PCs. I've built liquid cooled PCs where loops are all over the place. I've had millions of accidents. Pro tip: don't wear socks on a shag carpet while holding your motherboard. It will not end well for you.
Oh wow! Thanks for the tip. I want to know.
I literally saw the tracks on my motherboard go when I turned it on. Okay.
Yeah, that's right, because it's static, right?
Oh yeah. Static is super important. Like, you have to be super careful with that.
Yeah, when I was looking at replacing the first graphics card that I did from a 3060 Ti to the 4070, I remember, I'm sorry, to a 3070 at the time. I remember that I saw the YouTube channel, and they're like, you have to ground yourself prior to, and I'm like,
and there's a grounding cable.
Hell is grounding yourself? I was like, okay. So I watched, that's why you do your research. That's the moral of the next one. Okay, let me segue real fast to the last tip that I have here for people. And that is one that I want to ask you about. And the answer can change tomorrow. That's fine. I know that your answer today isn't going to be the same as when things officially come out, but the next one, Kay, is for everyone to understand something, and that's to set your expectations. Set your expectations. So what do I mean by that? When I jumped into the first build I had, which was a 3060 Ti 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, I knew from research what the range was going to be for my gaming. So I wasn't going into Cyberpunk thinking I was going to run things on Psycho ray tracing. Okay. and that's why the research part is important, but set your expectations. And with that said, Kay, like when the 40 series came out, you said, I want a 4090 build as early as possible. You did it, spend the coin so that you wouldn't have to upgrade, and you can future proof yourself for a while. So let me ask you this, for your expectations, when the 50 series gets announced, there's rumors that it's going to be announced this holiday. Are are you, it depending on what they say, are you going to look to upgrade, or you're set and you're happy with your performance and you're happy with your build, that you know what, you're probably going to stay to what you said, which was you're not going to build for maybe 5 or 6 years.
So the reason why I went with a GTX 4090 is because before my 4090, and actually I upgraded to, I had a 30 series card and then I upgraded to the 40, right? And the 30 was kind of a wishy-washy card, and when that came out, it did well, but it didn't hit the benchmark that I wanted it to hit. Now, those in the chat, those that know that this space will understand what I say when I say this, right? I had a 1080 Ti for 7 years. Okay. And until ray tracing came and blew everything out of the water, which people caught FOMO and started wanting the RT and the path tracing and all of that, my 1080 Ti was chef's kiss. Perfect. I never needed to look elsewhere. It's so interesting.
That's the GOAT. A lot of people.
It's so interesting that I bought it 7 years ago, and 7 years to the day when I was ready to get rid of the card, I sold it and made a profit off of the original purchase price.
Wow.
Right? The 1080 Ti was the GOAT of GOAT cards. And because of that, I was able to just be like, what? I don't care. And I was just playing my games. Never had an issue, right? In the world we live now, there is no one card that can just be like, yep, this is the card. You press the button and everything's at max and you move on. Mm-hmm. Even the 4090 liquid cooled that is looking at me looking all shiny right now still needs some concessions, some dialing here and there, right? Yep. If I play the wrong game, like obviously it's not optimized, the No Rest for the Wicked. I'm playing at 100, and right now I have an ultra wide 1440p monitor right now that we're looking at here. That's 21 by 9, and then I have a 4K standard monitor at the top. And the standard
4K
of the
or a 4K?
Yeah, an actual 4K monitor.
Okay. No, nowadays you got to check. Go ahead.
Yeah, nowadays you got to be sure, right? Whereas so usually when I'm recording footage, I put it up to the 4K monitor, and then I record footage there. And then if I'm playing myself, I'll put it on the 21 by 9 at the bottom, 1080p. 1440p, right? The 4K monitor has 144 hertz capable screen, whereas the one at the bottom has 100. And I know that, like, these days you can get 2 something, you can get 300 something. Yeah,
it's getting crazy.
That's right. But even with my 64 gigs, even with my 4090 build, even with my high processor and the whole thing, No Rest for the Wicked fluctuates between 114, which is the benchmark of my monitor, and it drops to 70 sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thing is
Dragon's Dogma 2 in the city drops to 70, 60 sometimes.
Yeah. And right? Let me ask you, and this is just a random quick question. We don't need to get into it. Have you tried DLSS frame generation on Dragon's Dogma? Because I heard that that's kind of a remedy for that situation.
Yes, but even in that instance, what it does is it basically like offsets your GPU load. And this is what we've talked about before, right? Yeah. DLSS can't fix CPU complexity.
Right.
It can upscale the GPU a little bit for you, and that's great, and it allows you to do that. But if your CPU is what's getting hammered, like I literally ran Dragon's Dogma at 720p on my machine here. Right, I dumbed the resolution down to 720p, and then I ran through the city, and it was still up and down as far as frames.
No, the reason I mentioned the DLSS frame generation is because I've been messing around with it, and I know that it'll give you a jump of 30 or 40 frames at least. So
but that depends on the game.
No,
if your game is GPU dependent, DLSS is exactly what you need. But if your game is CPU dependent, there is no let's get extra complexity in processing power for the CPU, which is the brain, right?
You're right.
The graphics output can be scaled up and down, and you're fine. But if you're specifically talking about, Dragon's Dogma 2, and I keep saying this, and my apples are freaking freaking dying while I'm in that won't change with DLSS or not. Right? That won't change.
Will last forever. They're wax apples, okay? But
CPU complexity does not scale. Yes,
but I
thank you
got
so
you.
much. Yes.
But the thing is that that's
Mhm.
why when you set your expectations, which is kind of like what we're referring to,
Yeah.
you've set your expectations already so that maybe that FOMO doesn't hit you when that 50 series
Yeah.
comes out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and that's the thing. Set your expectations of what your performance is going to be with the money
Mhm.
that you're spending to fit your desire. And I think that pretty much summarizes, Kay.
But you know what though? Before we move forward, I will give you a caveat, right?
Sure.
It also depends on the type of gamer you are. You're not my kind of gamer. You're not John Wolf's type of gamer. John Wolf mains Call of Duty a lot, right? I play a lot of indie games. Both of us share a love of some AAA games, but not every AAA game, right? If you are a AAA main, I gotta have my looter shooters, I gotta have all this at the highest clip, then yeah, you're gonna have to invest in the biggest, baddest machine to get the best fidelity in all those games all the time. I'm talking about your cyberpunks of the world, right? But if you find yourself loving a lot of the games that I love, I'm loving Trinity Fusion these days. I can't put down Balatro. I loved Cookie Cutter. I loved like a lot of those indie, cool, interesting games. You don't even need a 30 series or a 20 series. If this is the game you play, if you are Mr. Joanna Dark and you can live and love your Abacus and it's no big deal, none of this is something you need.
Absolutely.
Right? Get a small, like I was saying, get yourself hell, if that's the world you live in where you love your indie, you can buy your puck machine and still hit 60 frames at real 4K, not 4K, 4K, because those machines because those games tend to sit TDP. They're smaller games, so they don't have as much overhead, right? If you're talking about No Rest for the Wicked, where animations are flying all over the place and it's badly optimized currently, then yeah, you're going to need more overhead. But the more indie you stay, the more you can get away without having so much overhead, right? So you must look at yourself and ask yourself what kind of gamer you are. If you find yourself playing a lot of games that are pixelated, chances are you don't need that much oomph to play your games.
That's
and
true.
You can put a puck under your TV and enjoy your day, and it's not a problem, right?
That's
it's all
true.
about what you like.
Absolutely. Great point. Great point, Kay.
Now, I think you should read this one.
Oh, here we go. So MJ Dark with a 199 super chat. 1080 Ti equals Legion Go. 2080 Ti equals ROG Ally. Switch best. And since I wasn't in the PC world, I don't know what none of that means. I'm gonna just assume that the 2080 is better, right?
Yeah. Well, the 2080 ended up being a disappointment. Like people expected it to replace the 1080. It definitely did not. No. That's why the 30 series was marketed to the 1080 crowd, because the 2080 just didn't do it.
Oh, so it was an Ouya device. I got you. Okay.
Oh, this guy.
It was an Ouya device. But yeah, okay, let me ask you this last question about, just the process of choosing, because I do want to talk about this right here, since I am going through my upgrade kind of path here. Also, I think it's also important that everyone understands that when you talk about either dipping your toes with a Steam Deck, which I think you can get one now for like $250. I mean, or something like that, right? It's 300. Something like that.
If you're okay with getting a refurb version, you can get it for like mid twos. Yeah, you can get it for mid twos. Even the Ally you can get for mid threes. I would be careful with the Ally refurbished though, because the battery was already bad to start with. So if you get a refurbished one, it might be even worse. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, we're not gonna dog on the ROG Ally anymore today.
No. Look, I'm speaking facts, bro. Like, look, it's the truth. If you buy a used handheld, you don't know how much of that battery has been used up until now. And we all know that the Ally's battery is dog water. So, you can only go down from there.
There's no denying that. You got to play plugged in. But the thing is that there's just when you look at the plethora of devices and ways that you can get in, just there's no reason at all why anybody should feel intimidated or nervous about it or anything like that. There's return plans. Like I told my cousin, listen, take the Legion Go home, mess around with it for 2 or 3 days, and if you don't like it, take it back.
there is one caveat that I do want to add to this conversation that I think I missed. Maybe we should add as well. Okay.
Sure.
So in the world, and I would be remiss if I don't mention this, because the Fox talks about this all the time, right? People hear about it, they talk about it all the time, and maybe you've heard about it yourself as well, and you wonder what that is. Because what tends to happen is people don't want the big. Not everyone wants the big PC life, right? Again, people who just want to dip their toes in the water don't necessarily want to be, hey, I want the big dog machine. You, Mr. John Wolf, have even done this yourself. Yep. And what I'm saying here is, let's say you are a type of person you don't want a handheld because you're not a handheld gamer. Shout out to Slow Mo Backslap. He is not a handheld gamer. He has tried it many a times. He's like, it's just not for me, right? But he also has a full-fledged PC. He is in the PC water. If you're one who doesn't have a handheld and you just want that PC, and I've told you about those pucks, right? And then you start playing in that world and you go, you know what? I want more performance. I wanna have a bit more agency in my gaming. I want to make sure that I hit those frame rates even more. There is always, even in the puck world, there are upgrades available to you. And what I mean by that, eGPUs. You have one, right? You use one. You've used one for a long time before you decided to head into the 40 series waters, right? Now that means you buy a handheld, you buy a small puck for your $700-800, and then as you get more mature with it, right? As you get more performant with it, and you decide, you know what, I think I want more. Then you can come and buy something like this, which is an external GPU that's connected by one cable. Right. So instead of using the GPU that's inside your machine, you now use a GPU that is built into this device. Right. And in doing so, now you're getting way more frame rate. You want to turn on ray tracing? You can do that off of the little puck.
Oh, right? Hold on. Let me give Flood some heat here. Yeah. This is an AMD. Yeah, you're not doing ray tracing.
It is an AMD card.
No, that was for Flood. I just blew his chain. I wanted to bother.
Well, you
ain't doing ray tracing. Sorry. I just messing around. But
it is true. It is true. If you are on an AMD machine, an AMD GPU, chances are you're not getting like high ray trace frame rates. But don't talk smack. Because even on this 7840U device with my 78M GPU, let's say I'm playing I'm playing Doom Eternal. I can turn on ray tracing right here.
Yeah.
Right
now,
I'm playing what do you call it? What the hell is it? Minecraft with my kids. I can turn on the ray trace Minecraft right on here. Xbox can't do that. They still lock that thing down. But on here, I can turn on ray tracing and have the total path traced world in Minecraft. Right
no, and to credit, and I'm just messing around, but the AMD side too, the equivalent to the 4090 on their side, while it lacks on the ray tracing, and more than makes up for it when you're playing without it, and you get it for a fraction of the price, and you're getting big performance. You know, it's not there, but it's close enough.
It's good enough. Yes. It's good enough, and the cost to benefit ratio, works out in their favor. So you'll hear it say rasterized performance versus ray trace performance, baked performance versus the path trace performance. In the baked world, they even beat NVIDIA in many respects, right? But the minute you put the whiz bang, hey, I can see myself in a puddle, then they fall flat. It is what it is.
And that has been your graphics card war talk, because over on this space, since it's not Xbox versus PlayStation, it's AMD versus NVIDIA on this side.
It's team green versus team red. Does that sound familiar to you, ladies and gentlemen?
That's the thing on this side that I've learned. That a lot of people are like I'll see someone say that they bought an AMD card, and then the NVIDIA fanboys come and attack them, and vice versa. So it's everywhere. Unfortunately, you can't get away.
And of course, most of our chat are PC folks, so they're already in the chat battling over CPUs, right?
Which actually, Lucius had mentioned the current, what he considers to be the best CPU on the market, which is actually the one I'm going to upgrade in a few months.
Well, okay, so let's be clear. like that CPU is definitely a better performance CPU than the Intel variant. Now, why I went, and it was even when I bought my card, why I went with the Intel variant is if you plan on doing workloads that are non-gaming, the Intel one still beats it. But if you buy that machine for gaming, and gaming is your main focus, right?
Yeah.
They have way more performance, not way more, but like you can see the difference in performance with the Intel variant versus the AMD variant. But the minute you try to, like, let's say render a 4K movie or render a 4K video or something for us content creators, all of a sudden, yeah, the Intel one, like, it still smokes everybody. So it's all about your use case.
Right. And I'll be getting it because, you know, I'm on the gaming side all the way, but I think we hit it out of the park, man. This is a pretty good user guide for anybody trying to get in, man, and they have no idea, and they listen to us and they're like, oh, you know what? These guys, they don't make it sound too complicated.
I hope so. I hope that we have dumbed it down, and not dumbed it down, but we've made it understandable for those who may not swim deep in those waters. I know a lot of folks in our chat know exactly what they're doing, and they're advocating for their team green versus team red, but not everyone understands all those. And what we're trying to tell you is that the water's fine. Join us. It's not that complicated, and you don't even need to make it that complicated for yourself. You are very and of course we have Flood with his Intel madness, team blue. Get out of here with that ridiculousness, sir.
Blue, a Hewlett Packard or something? Arc. Oh, I gotcha. Intel. Gotcha.
Intel.
So let me tell you a quick funny story. Okay, as you know, I upgraded to the 4080 Super. I come quickly to find out that I had a 650 watt power supply.
So you bottlenecked yourself. Yes, so I remember this.
So I had to, buy myself a new power supply. I got myself 1,000 watt. And here's the thing, right? So I've never done that before. I've never replaced a power supply or nothing. So when I bought an MSI power supply, and I'm looking at the box and I'm looking at this thing, and the gentleman that was helping me, he's looking at me and he goes, look, man, why don't you just leave it here? And that's how I learned about the Total Tech thing that I talked about. And I'm like, you know how it is, okay? My Latino heat came out, and I go, listen, man, I could figure this out. But I'm not going to lie to you. The whole ride home, I was sweating bullets, man. I'm like, oh my God. Like, there's so many connectors. There's like, it's complicated. I'm going to have to watch videos. I'm not going to be able to get my baby back on time today, up and running. It was so easy. It was so easy. You couldn't make a mistake because the cables are exactly the ones that go in the slots. Everything's labeled. It was so easy. But
bro, welcome to the new world. I built PCs back when putting in a NIC was like difficult. You used to be a guru because you knew how to install a network card and you had the drivers ready for doing it. And it took effort to do it. I'm saying, like, these grays are here for a reason. I'm sorry.
I was talking about it in our DM and I'm like, look, my pride, it got to me. He's like, no, just leave me. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, man, I ain't gonna leave my PC here for you to install the power supply. And I was able to do it, man. And the reason I say this is because if I can do it, I think anybody can do it.
See, but you what you got to be careful of, and I've learned this. I'm learning this as I go along. Like, I always assumed that, this is just easy. Come on, everybody could do this. Like, I don't know, like, this is not complicated. It's not complicated for you because you want to try. You have that passion to try. Not everyone has that, right? Some people just want to cut to the chase. For you and me, the journey is as cool as the destination, right?
Yeah.
Some people, the journey is completely debilitating. They do not want to deal with it whatsoever. They just want that destination, aka button game. Right? That's what they want, right? And for them, there has to be answers too. It's okay to not want to go through that journey. I enjoy that stuff.
I agree with that.
You'll see me online when my play night. You'll see me customizing my stuff. I'm in the DMs. You want to hit me up? I will answer any question I can for you. I'm here to help. It's all good. But you don't have to go down that path to get to the end, which is the game that you want to play.
Yep. Very true.
So
very true.
There you go. So yes, unless anybody has any more questions, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or again, you can always reach out to us in the DMs. We're here to talk games, man. I've heard on many occasions that most PC focused shows or PC focused content creators tend to be gatekeepers. They tend to be, get good kind of folks, and that is something I want to dispel. For me, I'm a PC gamer because it's necessity, right? I want the best of the best. I'm an NLB kind of guy, newest, latest, best kind of guy. So I tend to live on the edge, but that does not mean that that's where I live always, right? I have handhelds galore. They are not bleeding edge. They are technical advancements. You see what I did there? But that's because they're technical advancements because you can play your console games or your AAA games on here. But that doesn't
mean... Does your micro SD card work on that one, by the way?
Oh, bro, it works beautifully.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
I got a 2 terabyte micro SD in this bitch right now. You know
I got you. And me, you won't hear any of that talk from me because number one, I don't have the knowledge, so I can't. So even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to. So.
But I guess my point is like as a quick example, right? I am loving No Rest for the Wicked. I'm not playing it here. Where I'm playing it is GeForce Now on my G Cloud. Why? Because then you offset all the up and down frames and this and that of the bad processing with their monster machines online, and you're just playing it right here. Or I'm playing some indie game on some devices. Just because you have the capability of playing everything at bleeding edge, crazy ray tracing, doesn't mean you have to live there. I play on everything, right? And that's okay.
Gaming. That's what it's all about. It's true. Non-missionary gaming. That's the way of life. That when you reach the non-missionary gaming bliss, it's just you're just happy, man, all the time.
Okay, well, we will leave the slander there because this is a water that's nice and warm and everybody can enjoy it, right? On this show, as I said, MR means multiplayer, a multi-platform respect. All right, you could play wherever you want. You can join us, and we're fine with that. And if you need help, need to switch. Abacus has gone through enough already. Calm down. But yes, I think we should about leave it there. It's been a great episode. I have enjoyed our chat as usual. I'm looking forward to a bunch of the games coming out. I'm looking forward to, continuing down this path of PC, and maybe next time we'll do some more deep tutorials. I am trying to change my workflow a little bit so that maybe I can do some hands-on, maybe some tutorials, maybe show some stuff, make it easy for folks to understand. There's more to come in this space. I really want to make it as something that's more approachable, that people can be okay with testing the waters of. You know what I'm saying? But
absolutely.
Until that time, how about we do some housekeeping notes? Once again, I will let you know that we are holding a contest. We will be doing a giveaway of 5, count them, 5 Hellblade 2 coins. Then that'll be the beginning of our contest giveaways with these Hellblade, with these coins. As you know, if you've watched if you've heard it on them YouTube or Twitter streets, or you've seen him on our show, Ben Kenobi and that blue number Holly are giving away coins, and that is the only way you can get them. You can purchase them. They are awesome keepsakes. I think in the world where you no longer have physical that is actually worth anything, these are actual things that you can keep, and they're special and they're unique to every game. So we have the opportunity to give 5 away. Stay tuned on the channel. You'll hear more about that soon enough. If you are a member, please consider being a member. If you're a member, whatever way we devise giving that away, we'll make sure the members get first dibs, right? Also, join the Discord if you have the opportunity to. I am going through what I call my code spring cleaning. I get monster amounts of code between game codes, between Humble Bundle and a few other things that I get. I have pages and pages and pages of games that I either have double duplicates of, or I just never will play them. So from time to time, I'll just go into the Discord and start throwing them out there. If you happen to be there, you catch yourself a code. It's all good. I'm still looking for like console codes, but those tend to be harder to come by. So by and large, I have a lot of Steam codes. So join the Discord. If you want to get your hands on one of those codes, there'll be no contest, no giveaways, no nothing. I'll just throw the code in the chat and you'll get your hands on it. It's absolutely what's available to you. You're totally welcome to to give
Okay,
that. So
take a note of Zach Riley. I think he mentioned this earlier on the show too. He says he's not seeing the special channel.
Oh, he's not seeing the special channel in the Discord. That is unfortunate. So what I did was, if you are a member of the channel, if you join the membership, there is in the community section, there is a post that only members can see, and that gives you special access to the channel. But Zach, I will definitely look it up. I know you joined the chat, you joined the community recently. I will definitely, like, after the show, I will 100% go look it up. If you can, reach out to me on X, reach out in the DMs. We can chat about it. I'll make sure I get it right, working right for you, brother. No worries about that.
Yeah, and the Sly Crow. Sorry, I just put the link. I just put the link to the Discord there.
No, we put the link in there. Yep.
Where these conversations continue throughout the week, and sometimes we go under the vent and kind of let our hair down.
Yeah, if you want a venting session, if you want us to kind of pat your back while you complain about certain things, you can come out of the Discord.
You guys been patting my back for months already. I think I'm done. I think I finally got over it. Only took like
it's cool, B. It's cool. It's all right. Yeah. It's cool. So yeah, we're gonna leave it here. Look forward to a lot more content from us, a lot more content from me. As games come out, you're going to see a lot more from me. I want to start streaming when I have an opportunity to. Maybe I'll start streaming. Maybe I'll do some YouTube streaming. Maybe I'll do some streaming from Game Pass, the cloud setup, because it's easy to do that. I'm looking forward to playing Ghost of Tsushima on PC. I love that game. Maybe I'll stream that. We'll see what happens. But yes, Mr. John Wolf, it's always a great conversation with you, sir. Tell the people where they can keep up with your ongoings on these here streets for the next week.
Yeah, thanks, Kay. It was a great conversation. I think that we gave a lot of good and useful information today. I wish there were shows like this when I was starting my journey, talking about this stuff. So if for anyone out there that listened, I hope that we helped kind of guide you. And like Kay said, if you have any questions, reach out to us on X. Both of our names are on the bottom, how you can find us on X. Also, we're both the same on each platform: Steam, Xbox, PlayStation. The only thing you're not going to get from us is our social security number for the Switch. Other than that, you can find us anywhere. Just reach out. Don't be shy. We have community members that reach out during the week and ask us about certain peripherals and different devices. And you'll see me posting pictures on the different handhelds that I'm playing throughout the week. I usually like to start the morning playing something before work and drinking some coffee to kind of ease into the day. That's kind of like
my morning play session, like 5 a.m. You know what I'm playing? Balatro.
Oh yeah, you did say that on
5 a.m. That's what I'm playing. Yeah, I love that game. I'm a sick man. I know.
That's the new Marvel Snap, apparently, huh?
Yes, it is. It is. It's that handheld, that card game that you hate card games, but you can't get enough of.
Yes.
Don't start it if you do, because it's cracked. You can't get it off of that.
Marvel Snap was really bad, but like I said, Kay, I'll be on. I'm gonna keep on benchmarking this 4080 Super. I'm gonna be upgrading my rig with a new CPU, motherboard, and memory in the next couple of months. So I'm looking forward to that. And guys, have a great week. Plenty of good games coming out. Check out Zao. Let me give him a plug. Our good friend, the Black Viking, which
great review. Excellent review.
Knocked it out of the park. His first review ever. Honestly, he needs a job at IGN or something, because he was.
No, I was about to say he gave IGN a run for his money.
Yeah,
they coming for you, IGN. They coming for you.
I agree. So check out his review. The game looks phenomenal. I'm getting all those Prince of Persia vibes from earlier in the year. I can't wait to play it this week. And of course, Stellar Yams. That's going to be one of my game of the years for many reasons. And Kay, peace out, everybody. Kay.
Well, hold on. There's one last thing that I want to plug, and I hope people are able to check it out. And that is The Wandering Dutch is doing his indie showcase. So the community indie showcase, and I actually will. Let me see. The Wandering Dutch.
Oh, dude! Last year blew everything else out of the water except for the Xbox showcase.
Yeah, and he's doing it again this year. It actually is the 27th. So this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, he is doing it. Let me put Let me put in 4 days. Let me put the link in the chat. We'll take part in that. You will see a whole bunch of indies and cool games that I'm looking forward to. Check it out. He was actually in the chat not too long ago. Check it out. He's got a who's who of content creators. I think even Aaron Greenberg is confirmed to be there, to be on the show. Check it out. Support the man, because we want to be the change we want to see in this environment. He's doing it for the community. It takes so much time and effort to do it every year, and he's still doing it. So shout out to him. Support the man. Promote. Hit the like button. Go check out that stuff, because it is awesome and it's done by one of us. So please support the Wandering Dutch. It is CIS 2024. Use that hashtag all over the place. Let people know you're watching. So yes. As for me, of course, Wednesdays, myself, Mr. Boomstick, and friends, we're gonna be out there talking that mess. Hopefully, there's some interesting things to talk about. If not, we always find some real cool gaming stuff to go on about. And then, of course, Saturday, you will catch me and the aforementioned Everborn Saga back at it again on the Gaming Circle podcast, and of course, back here Monday night once again, doing this once again with my brother, Mr. John Wolf. So, for myself, John, and the rest of everybody that's always having a great time in this chat, I say thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for being here. And of course, keep it gaming, and we will see you next week.
Peace.